You all had good lunch. Now, I welcome you all for the second day, third session of Virtual National Workshop on Artificial Intelligence and its Multidisciplinary Stances, AIMS 2021. Now, I request Dr. T. Kalichelvi ma'am to introduce the resource person.
Thank you, Kanimoli. Once again, our speaker is Dr. Jyotismita Chaki, an assistant professor, senior grade from Department of Information Technology, School of Information Technology and Engineering, VIT. She has completed her PhD in engineering from PhD Jadavpur University, Kolkata. Her research specialization include image processing, pattern recognition, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. She has published 56 plus research articles in national and international journals. Her Google Scholar citation index is 754 with the H index 12 and item index 17. She is the author of the following books titled A Beginner's Guide to Image Pre-Processing Technique from CRC Press, A Beginner's Guide to Image Shape Feature Extraction Techniques from CRC Press, Texture Feature Extraction Techniques for Image Recognition, Springer, Image Color Feature Extraction Techniques, Fundamentals and Applications, Springer, Artificial Intelligence for Coronavirus Outbreak, Springer. She has edited the following book titled Smart Biosensors in Medical Care, Elsevier, Sensors for Health Monitoring, Elsevier. Currently, she is the associate editor of Array Journal, Elsevier, and IET Image Processing Journals. With this, having the vibrant experience in this artificial intelligence researchers and with the latest concepts of image processing, I welcome you, Dr. Jyotismita Chaki. Now the session is yours. You can continue now. Dr. Jyoti? Hello?
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Now you are audible. Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your acceptance. Now you can continue. You can share your presentation.
Okay. Is it?
Presentation. பண்றாங்களா?
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible. It's visible.
Okay.
You are audible also. You can continue.
Now I think it is the full screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Today I will start with a scenario that I faced yesterday. Yesterday, one of my colleague told me that his father is suffering from fever and cough, and the doctors have identified that he is suffering from pneumonia and started the treatment. But his health condition is not getting improved. So this can be the example of uncertainty in the field of healthcare. Disease or symptom relation are not deterministic, and there are uncertainty and they can vary from patient to patient. In this case, two types of uncertainties can be there. First one is disease to symptom uncertainty. For example, a patient suffering from pneumonia may or may not have fever all the times, may or may not have cough, white blood cell test can be in a normal range. Second type of uncertainty can be symptom to disease uncertainty. That is, for example, high fever is typical for many diseases such as bacterial diseases and does not point specifically to pneumonia. Likewise, fever, cough, paleness, and the combination of these do not always point to pneumonia. So good afternoon to all of you. Today I will give you some examples that how to handle the uncertain situation using artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence means we are going to develop the automated system where, for example, the diagnosis will be automatically done by the AI agent. And if there is any uncertain situation, then the agent can't take any right decision if you are not properly training the agent that how to handle the situation where there is uncertainty. Now, I know that all of you are familiar with the term artificial intelligence, but I want to start the presentation with my favorite slide. So now what is artificial intelligence? Here there are two terms basically. First one artificial and second term is intelligence. Intelligence means the capacity to learn and solve problems. And AI is the simulation of human intelligence basically by machines so that it can solve problems, it can act rationally, it can act like human. Here I listed some applications of artificial intelligence, but there are actually many more. So first one is in the field of marketing, means application of artificial intelligence in the field of marketing, such as search for an item in any e-commerce store. An example of this is finding the right movies on Netflix. It examines millions of records to suggest shows and films that you might like based on your previous action and choices of the films. As the dataset grows, this technology is getting smarter and smarter every day. However, due to the noise in the underlying data and some algorithmic errors, many time recommendation will contain uncertainty to a certain extent. Now, the next application of artificial intelligence can be in the field of banking. As we all know that we can develop AI-based chatbot in the field of in the field of banking. So AI solutions can be used to enhance security across a number of business sectors, including retail, finance, etc. But there can be uncertainty in these sectors also. Consider, for example, an event indicating credit card fraud based on large number of withdrawal from a customer's account within a short period of time. So this activity may indicate a fraud with some probability. However, it may also indicate an one-time behavior for this customer. So this is an uncertain situation. In addition, there are cases in which the pattern itself can be uncertain. Now, the next application in the field of agriculture, next application of artificial intelligence in the field of agriculture, there is uncertainty in agriculture field also with respect to climate change, population growth, food security, etc. AI can help farmers to get more from the land while using resources more sustainably. Artificial intelligence is used to help farmers to find more efficient ways to protect their crops from weeds. For example, Blue River Technology has developed a robot called See and Spray, which uses artificial intelligence and precisely can spray weedicide on cotton plants. Next application in the field of healthcare. Because I started the session by giving you an example that what kind of uncertain situation can be faced by healthcare AI agent, I am not repeating those things again. So here Combio Healthcare developed a clinical decision support system for stroke prevention that can give the physician a warning when there is a patient at risk of having a heart stroke. Likewise, Koala Life, which is a company that has a digitized device that can find cardiac diseases, etc. etc. Now, application in the field of autonomous car, this is one of the famous example of artificial intelligence. And in this respect, there can be various type of uncertainties, like uncertainty in sensor. Autonomous cars are equipped with a large variety of sensors, including GPS camera, proximity sensor, and others. The data coming from sensors has inaccuracies that must be accounted for in subsequent computation that fuse it and build higher level of representations of scenes and situations. Next type of uncertainty in this regard can be situational uncertainty. This is even more challenging. This will occur when the autonomous vehicle begin to interact with vehicles and external moving objects, for example, people, bicycle, animals, etc. Companies like Waymo conducted several test drives before deploying their first AI-based public ride-hailing service. Another famous example of the autonomous vehicle is Tesla's self-driving car. Artificial intelligence implements computer vision, image detection, and deep learning to build cars that can automatically detect objects and can drive around without human intervention. Next, application of artificial intelligence in the field of social media. Uncertainties in social media can be caused by using inaccurate information and rumors, then malicious use of social media, etc. So here, one application of artificial intelligence in the field of social media is Twitter's AI, which is being used to identify hate speech and terroristic language in tweets. Then now what is uncertainty basically? With the knowledge representation, we might use this type of symbol like A implies B. So this is the this arrow symbol is basically the symbol of implication. If we are using only logical based reasoning or logical reasoning, then we have to use this type of symbol. There are 5 to 6 logical means symbols we can use to express some statements. So this is one of the famous examples, famous logical connectives basically. So which is A implies B. This is the meaning of this symbol is implication, which means if A is true, then B is true. Now consider the situation where we don't know that whether A is true or not. Then we cannot express this type of statement, and this situation is called uncertainty. For example, toothache implies cavity. This is not true for all the patients because not all patients with toothache have cavities. Likewise, cavity implies toothache. This is also not true for all the cases because not all cavities cause pain. So these are some situations where there are uncertainty. Now, as we already know that uncertainty arises when we are not 100% sure about the outcome of the decision. And this mostly happens in those cases where the conditions are neither completely true nor completely false. And when talking about artificial intelligence, an agent faces uncertainty in decision making when it tries to perceive the environment for information. Because of this, the agent gets wrong or incomplete data, which can affect the result drawn by the agent. The uncertainty is faced by the agent due to these reasons. Here I have listed only 4, but there can be many more actually. So first one is partially observable environment. Now what is partially observable environment? The entire environment is not always in reach of the AI agent. There are some parts of the environment which are out of the reach of the agent, and hence they are left unobserved. So the decision that the agent makes do not include the information from these areas, and hence the result drawn may vary from the actual case. So this can cause uncertainty. So partial observable environment. This is the first cause. The second cause can be dynamic environment. If the environment is dynamic, that is, there are always some changes that keep taking in place in environment. So the decision or the calculations made at any instant may not be the same after some time due to the changes that have occurred in the surroundings by that time. So if the observation made at any instant are considered later, then there can be an ambiguity in the decision making. Third reason can be incomplete knowledge of the agent. If the agent have incomplete knowledge or insufficient knowledge about anything, then it cannot produce correct result because the agent itself does not know about the situation and the way in which the situation is to be handled. Fourth cause can be inaccessible areas in the environment. There are areas in the environment which are observable but not in reach of the agent to access. In such situation, the observation made is correct, but the agent cannot act on these parts of the environment. So these parts will remain unchanged by the action of the agent. This will not affect the current decision, but can affect the estimations made by the agent in future. So the world is not just about true or false. So our reasoners or our agents should be able to model this and reason over the shades of the gray we are basically finding in the world. Now, how to handle this uncertain situation? There are many ways to handle uncertain situation in the field of artificial intelligence, like fuzzy logic, probabilistic reasoning, hidden Markov model, etc. Here I will discuss that how to handle the uncertain situation using only probabilistic reasoning. Here I pointed here I listed 3 points then that when we should use probabilistic reasoning. First point is when we are unsure about the solution from predicates. For example, suppose a taxi was involved in a hit and run accident at night, and suppose only 2 taxi companies operate in that particular city. First one is yellow taxi company and second one is white taxi company. And 85% of the taxis are from suppose yellow taxi company and 15% of the taxis are from suppose white taxi company. Now one witness told that taxi color was white. Now, how the agent will become sure that the taxi color is white? So, from this particular given scenario, we can frame 3 premises. First premise number 1, taxi caused accident. Premise number 2, 2 taxi companies in town, yellow and white. And premise number 3, accident witness told that taxi was white. But from these 3 premises, can we reach to the conclusion, or can the AI agent reach to a conclusion that the taxi color was white? Because experts explain that human vision has 80% of accuracy in terms of distinguishing white and yellow given light conditions at the time of the accident. So in this case, the agent can use probabilistic reasoning to have some correct data or correct outcome. Second situation where we can use probabilistic reasoning can be when the possibilities of predicates become too large to list down. So in this case, if we are trying to handle the whole situation by only logical reasoning, then it will become very, very complicated. Here also we can use probabilistic reasoning. After that, when it is known that an error occurs during an experiment, then also we can use probabilistic or the agent can use probabilistic reasoning. There can be many more such cases, but I have listed only 3. Now, first of all, first is what is probabilistic reasoning. Suppose given a proposition A, we can assign the probability PA. This is the notation that how to denote the probability PA, such that PA lies between 0 to 1, where if A is absolutely true, then PA will be equal to 1, and when A is absolutely false, then PA will be equal to 0. Proposition A must be either true or false, but probability of A summarizes out the degree of belief in A being true or false. That is why we can use this probabilistic based reasoning in case of uncertainty. For example, probability of weather equal to sun is equal to 0.7. That means the agent is 70% sure that the weather is sunny. The second example, the agent is 5% sure that there is gravity. So, and what about the third example? Suppose here capital A is representing my mood, small a representing happy, capital B representing weather, small b representing rainy. So the whole representation, the meaning of this representation will be when the weather is rainy, then the agent is 20% sure that my mood is happy. So by this way, we can interpret this type of sentences. So before solving any problem by using probability, means any uncertain situation, solving any uncertain situation by the probability, some terms we have to know. So first is conditional probability. Conditional probability is a probability of occurring an event when another event has already happened. Suppose we have to count the probability of A event when B has already occurred. Then the notation will be like this: probability of A given that B, which is equal to probability of A and B. This is the notation of joint probability divided by the marginal probability of B. In the subsequent slides, I will tell about that what is joint probability and what is marginal probability. But for now, The conditional probability is basically dependent on the joint probability and the marginal probability. So the conditional probability means the probability of A when B has already occurred. This is equal to probability of joint probability of A and B and divided by marginal probability of B. Similarly, if we have to calculate the probability of B when event A has already occurred, then it will be joint probability of A and B divided by the marginal probability of A. Now, some example related to conditional probability. Suppose this type of data we already have. Suppose liked movie true, slept true, probability 0.2. That means if I am liking movie and I am sleeping, the probability is only 20%. Like that. Now, first example, consider the first example, probability of slept in movie is equal to 0.5. So this is the example of marginal probability. So basically, what is marginal probability? When we are not considering any other parameters. See, here there are two parameters, like movie and slept. But we have to only consider slept in movie. We have to calculate the probability of slept in movie. So we can purely ignore the other parameter, like for example, liked movie. So here, probability, how to calculate the probability of slept in movie? We have to just take the summation where the slept in movie is true. That means 0.2 plus 0.3, which is 0.5. By this way, we have to calculate the marginal probability. Similarly, probability slept in movie given that like movie. So this is one example of conditional probability, that how to calculate the conditional probability. So if you recall the equation from the previous slide, so this is basically the joint probability of slept in movie and like movie divided by the marginal probability of like movie. So the joint probability of slept in movie and like movie is 0.2 as shown in the table. And what about the marginal probability of like movie? So if we are going to calculate the marginal probability of like movie, then we have to totally ignore this slept part. So the joint probability of like movie is 0.2 plus 0.4, because in this case 1 is there. So that is 0.6. So overall the equation will become 0.2 divided by 0.6, that means 1 by 3. Similarly, we can calculate the third one also. Now the joint probability. The joint probability of two or more events is called, means the probability of two or more events is called joint probability. The joint probability of two or more random variables is referred to as the joint probability distribution. And how to write joint probability? These are basically the notations that we can follow. Probability of A and B, probability of A and B, probability of A comma B. Now, what about the joint probability of liked movie and slept? We have to jointly consider these two. So it is basically 0.2. So this is the result of the joint probability. Now, we can also represent the joint distribution by using conditional probability, which is called the product rule. So the joint probability between A and B can be is equal to probability of A condition B multiplied by probability of B. And this particular equation we can extend up to 9 terms, up to n terms. And suppose we are extending it for 3 variables, and consider the scenario, consider the image given here first. Here, suppose there are 3 events. Event C is independent, as you can see from the diagram, because it is not dependent on any other event. Event B is dependent on C, and event A is dependent on B. And event A and event C are conditionally independent to each other because they are not directly dependent on each other. Now, how to extend the previous equation? Joint probability of A, B, and C, which is equal to probability of A given that BC multiplied by probability of A, B given that C multiplied by probability of C. Here, probability of C we have to calculate individually because this is an individual event. It is not dependent on any other event. What about the second term? Second term here, probability of B given that C. This is absolutely okay because B is dependent on C. But what about the first part, this part? Here, probability, we have to calculate the probability of A given that BC. Here, no need to consider the C part because A event is not directly dependent on C. So, for our simplicity, we can rewrite this term as probability of A given that B. And this is the example of conditional independence, where some independent events are there, we can ignore it. And this is the generalization of the product rule, which is called the chain rule. Now, marginal probability, as I already mentioned some examples of marginal probability in the previous slides. Suppose this type of data is there with us, and suppose we have to calculate the marginal probability of football. So marginal probability of football will be the summation of 0.24 plus 0.15. Irrespective of male and female, whatever data associated with football, we have to take the summation of it, which is 0.39. And what about the marginal probability of male? Marginal probability of male will be the summation of these three, means 0.24, 0.2 and 0.1, which is 0.54. By this way, we can calculate the marginal probability. Now, one famous example, Wampus World. I think all of you are familiar with this example because this is one of the most famous example in the field of artificial intelligence. And that is why I am not going to explain that what is Wampus World. Straight away, I am going to explain that how can we handle the Wampus World situation by using probability. Now, suppose we have a maze with pits that are detected in neighboring squares via breeze. And here, for simplicity, we are ignoring Wampus and Gold. And where does the agent should go if there is breeze at 1, 2, and 2, 1? From the figure, you can see that suppose this 1, 1 is the initial location of the agent, and the agent have, or AI agent, and the AI agent have already identified breeze at 1, 2 this location and 2, 1 this location. So these three locations are known to the agent. Now the problem is, after identifying the breeze at 1, 2 and 2, 1, the agent have to find out that what is the probability that 1, 3 contains pit, what is the probability that 2, 2 contains pit, what is the probability that 3, 1 contains pit, because these two boxes means in these two locations already breeze has been identified. So if we are using pure logical inference, we cannot conclude anything about which square is most likely to be safe, whether it is 1, 3 or 2, 2 or 3, 1. So in this case, we the agent have to take care of the probability based reasoning. Now the solution, coming to the solution, suppose here we are taking into consideration two Boolean variables, Pij, which is denoting pit at square ij, Bij, which is denoting breeze at square ij, and assume that we have the following evidences. So suppose small b is representing breeze at location 1, 2 because it is already identified by the agent, and breeze at location 2, 1 because it is already identified by the agent. So B12 and B21, this is represented by B, suppose, small b. And known means these three locations are already known by the agent, because the agent have already covered these three locations. So the known will be negation, and there is no pit at location 1, 1, 1, 2 and 2, 1. This is already identified by the agent. So the known will be negation of P11 because there is no pit at 1, 1 already identified, and negation of pit 1, 2, no pit at 1, 2 because it is already identified, and negation of pit 2, 1 because it is already identified that in these three locations there are no pit. Now we are interested in answering the queries that what is the probability that there is pit at 1, 3 given that known and B. What is the probability that there is pit at 2, 2 given that known B? What is the probability that there is pit at 3, 1 given that known B? So first we will consider the first one. So what is the probability of pit in the location 1, 3 given that known B? So here, as you can see from the diagram, here first we have to identify the unknown part. Here these three locations are known to the agent, means 1, 2, 1, 1 and 2, 1. These three parts are already known, and 1, 3 we are interested in finding out, or the agent is interested in finding out that whether there is a pit at 1, 3 or not, means what is the probability. So the unknown part is basically the combination of fringe and other, means the union of fringe and other. Union of fringe and other. This is making the unknown part. And now from the conditional independence, we get breeze means B means B12 and B21. Given that P12 means Pete at 13, comma known, comma unknown. And using conditional independence, we can rewrite this as probability of B given that Pete 13 known and fringe, because because B means breeze at 1-2 and breeze at 2-1. This is entirely independent of the other portion. So it is conditionally independent of the other portion, this portion. So we can rewrite the equation as this one, and we can replace the unknown word by using fringe. This is needed in our next calculation actually. So now we have to calculate the probability of Pete at location 1, 3 given that known B. So here we have to take into consideration the unknown portion. So summation of unknown, which is equal to probability of 1, 3 known, unknown B. And here, as per the product rule, we know that we have to write like this: probability of B means breeze, given that Pete 13 known unknown multiplied by probability of Pete 13 known unknown. Now this portion will remain same. Just we have to replace the unknown word by using fringe. So this will become probability of B given that P13 known fringe. In place of unknown, we will write fringe now due to the conditional independence, multiplied by probability of P13 known fringe. Now this portion will remain same. The first portion will remain same. And what about the second portion? Second, here we can write probability of P13 multiplied by probability of known multiplied by probability of fringe, because these three are not dependent on each other. That is why we have to separately we have to consider the probability. Now, by this way, we have to solve the equation, and ultimately we are getting alpha dash multiplied by probability of 1, 3. Here we have replaced alpha multiplied by probability of known by using alpha dash. Summation of fringe B given that Pete 13 known fringe multiplied by probability of fringe. So these values we have to count to have the probability that what is the probability of having Pete at location 1, 3. Now we have to calculate the values for this particular equation. So probability of Pete at 1, 3 given that known B, which is equal to probability of 1, 3, and summation of fringe, probability of breeze given that Pete 1, 3 known fringe, and probability of fringe. This we have already deducted in the previous slide. Now we have to calculate the probability of fringe. This we have to calculate probability of fringe. So the means to have the probability of fringe, here two observation we have to do. First one is when we are considering that 1, 3 contains Pete, location 1, 3 contains Pete. So first three examples dedicated to the situation where 1, 3 contains Pete. And the second two dedicates the situation or defines the situation where we are considering that 1, 3 doesn't have any Pete. So here, if 1, 3 in this location, if there is Pete, so what will be the probability value of the fringe? Fringe means the value of these two locations. Suppose the probability of Pete at any location is 0.2. Here I forgot to mention it. Suppose the probability of Pete at any location is 0.2. And consider the first example. Here we have considered that there is Pete at 2, as well as there is Pete at 3, 1. So what will be the probability of fringe? This will be 0.2 multiplied by 0.2, which is 0.04. Now consider the second case. Here, suppose we have means assume that there is Pete at 2, 2, but there is no Pete at 3, 1. Then also these two means location will have breeze. So there is Pete at 2, 2, that means 0.2 multiplied by no Pete at 3, 1. No Pete at 3, 1 means 1 minus 0.2, which is 0.8. And after calculating the product, we are getting 0.16. Now, what about the third one? Here we are considering that there is no Pete at 2, 2, but there is Pete at 3, 1. Here also, V's will be there at 1, 2, and 2, 1. So in this case, as there is no Pete at 2, 2, so it will become 0.8 multiplied by 0.2, so it will become 0.16. Now consider the situation where we have considered that there is no pit at 1, 3. Then to have breeze in these two locations, only these two scenarios are possible, and accordingly we have to calculate the probability. Now coming to the calculation part, probability of pit 1, 3 given that known B, which is equal to 0.2. Why 0.2? Because here we have to consider the probability of pit at 1, 3. So it is becoming 0.2 multiplied by probability of fringe. Here what about this part? Probability of breeze given that pit 1, 3 known B. This will be 1 because the agent have already identified that there is breeze at 1, 2 and 2, 1. That is why the probability will be 1 here. So we have to only consider the cases where means we have to only consider the probabilities of fringe. So when we are considering that there is pit at 1, 3, so we have to take the summation of these three probabilities: 0.04, 0.04 is plus 0.16 plus 0.16. And when there is no pit at 1, 3, it will become 0.8 obviously, because 1 minus 0.2, 0.8 multiplied by 0.04 plus 0.16, which is becoming 0.31, 0.69. So 0.31 is the probability of having pit at 1, 3. And 0.69 is the probability that this particular location, means 1, 3, doesn't have any pit. Similarly, we can calculate for 2, 2 location. And here you can see that there is 86% chance that there is a pit at 2, 2. So definitely the agent should avoid the square 2, 2. So this type of deduction is not possible if we are using only logical based reasoning. For this, probabilistic based reasoning is best, and so that the agent can take the right decision. Now coming to the another part, which is Bayes rule. This is known as Bayes law or Bayesian reasoning, which determines the probability of an event with uncertain knowledge. And in probability theory, it relates the conditional probability and marginal probability of two random variables, as you can see from this equation. So probability of A given that B, which is equal to probability of B given that A, multiplied by probability of A divided by probability of B. And this equation is the most modern AI system for probabilistic. This is the basic of the most modern AI system for probabilistic inference. Now one example of this: suppose given data, a doctor is aware that the disease meningitis causes a patient to have stiff neck, and it occurs 80% of the time. He is also aware of some more facts, such as the known probability of the patient has meningitis disease 1 by 30,000, known probability that the patient has stiff neck 2%. Now the question is, what is the probability that the patient has disease meningitis with stiff neck? Now for our simplicity, suppose we are considering some proposition. Suppose A denotes, this small a denotes that the patient has stiff neck, and B denotes that the patient has meningitis. And if we are forming, or if we are representing the question by using probability based notation, then it will become probability of B given that A. That means probability of having meningitis given that stiff neck, which is equal to probability of stiff neck given that meningitis, multiplied by marginal probability of B divided by marginal probability of A. And these three values are already given in the scenario. Probability of A given that B, which is 80%, means 0.8. Then probability of B means 1 by 30,000. The patient has the probability that the patient has meningitis, and the probability that the patient has stiff neck 2%. That means 0.2. So after calculation, we are getting 0.0013. So this is the probability that the patient has disease meningitis with stiff neck. Now Bayesian belief network. So Bayesian belief network is basically the key computer technology for dealing with probabilistic event and to solve a problem which has uncertainty. We can define a Bayesian network as a probabilistic graphical model which represents a set of variables and their conditional dependencies using a directed acyclic graph. A Bayesian network is made up of node and arc, as you can see from this figure, made up of node and arc, and each node corresponds to random variable, and the variable can be either continuous or discrete. And the arc means this one, arc or directed arrows. These are basically representing the conditional probability between random variables. These directed links or arrows connect the pair of node in the graph. These links represent that one node is directly influencing the other node or not. And if there is no direct link, that means those two nodes are independent with each other. Now consider the figure mentioned here, and consider here there are 4 random variables A, B, C, D, and consider the node B. Here node B is connected to node A, and in this case you can say that A is the parent of node B. And here there is no direct link between A and C and B and D. That is why we can say that C is not dependent on A and D is not directly dependent on B. Now one example which is related to the to this network. Harry installed a new burglar alarm at his home, and this this example is very famous actually. Harry installed a new burglar alarm at his home to detect burglary. The alarm reliably responds at detecting a burglary, but also respond for minor earthquakes. So here uncertainty is there. Harry has 2 neighbors, David and Sophia, who have taken a responsibility to inform Harry at work when they hear the alarm. David always calls Harry when he hears the alarm, but sometimes he got confused with the phone ringing and calls at that time too. So here also uncertainty is there. On the other hand, Sophia likes to listen to high music, so sometimes she misses to hear the alarm. Here also uncertainty is there. So here in three areas we have identified that uncertainty is there. So calculate the probability that the alarm has sounded, but there is neither a burglary nor earthquake occurred, and David and Sophia both called Harry. This we have to calculate the probability of this only. Means we have to calculate the probability that the alarm has occurred, but there was neither burglary nor earthquake, and David, Sophia both called Harry. So this is the representation of Bayesian network. So here you can see that alarm is dependent on alarm ringing is dependent on burglary and earthquake. And when alarm rings, David calls, Sophia also calls. So David calls, Sophia calls, both are dependent on alarm ringing. And these are conditional probability table mentioned. These are conditional probability table. So for our simplicity, suppose we are representing burglary with character B, earthquake by E, alarm A, David calls B, Sophia calls S. Now, if we are representing the problem statement in the form of probability, then it will become probability of ADS. That means we have to count the probability of alarm ringing when David calls, Sophia calls, and there is no burglary, no earthquake. That is why negation of B, negation of E. And now we have to follow the product rule. And as per the product rule, we can write that probability of D given that is A, negation of B, negation of E, multiplied by probability of A, say negation of B, negation of E. And for our simplicity, not for our simplicity, if we consider the conditional independence, then we know that David calls is only dependent on A. If we recall the previous example, David calls is only dependent on A. It is not directly dependent on B, E, and it is not dependent on Sophia calls also, S also. So so as per the conditional independence rule, we can rewrite this statement, this part, probability of D given that A, say negation of B, negation of E, as probability of D given that A. So only we have to consider the event which is directly influencing that particular event. So by this way we have to solve it, and these means values we have fetched from the conditional probability table. Let me check once. First one is probability of D given that A. So probability of David calls given that alarm true. So probability of David calls given that alarm true, which is 0.91. That is by 0.91. Then probability of Sophia calls when alarm is true, 0.75. Probability of Sophia calls when alarm true, which is 0.75. That is why 0.75 we have to write, multiplied by probability of alarm given that negation of B, negation of E, 0.001. So negation of B, negation of E, probability of alarm true, 0.001. Likewise, we have to put the value from for P negation of B and P negation of E also. Then we are getting 0.00068. So here you can see that there is a very less chance that the alarm has rings when there is no burglary, no earthquake, and David Hall, Sophia Coast. There is a very less chance that this type of situation will occur. So hence, Bayesian network can answer the query about the domain using joint probability distribution. Now, decision making under uncertainty. So many environments have multiple possible outcomes. For example, fever and cough do not always indicate pneumonia. Some of these outcomes may be good, others may be bad. Some may be very likely. Others may be unlikely. And now what the agent will do in this situation? They can combine beliefs and desires. Not only on probabilistic reasoning, but also the decision is based on what an agent wants. Till now, we have not considered the part that what an agent wants. This part was not there. In the conditional probability also, in the Bayesian network also. So now we can make decision based on probabilistic reasoning, as I showed in the previous slide, with by using the belief network, but it does not include what an agent wants. So an agent's preference between world state are captured by using utility function, which is very, very important. And it assigns a single number to express the desirability of a state. So the desirability of a state is represented by using the
Hi guys, it's Jessie from the Web Round, and
and these
today I'm going
utilities
to
are
teach you
combined
how
with
to
the
use
outcome
OBS
probabilities
or
for
Open
action to
Broadcasting
give an
software to
expected utility for each and every action. Bayesian decision theory basically refers to a decision theory which is informed by Bayesian probability. And it is a statistical system that tries to quantify the trade-off between various decisions and making use of probabilities and cost. So what action to take when the state of world is unknown? What the agent have to do is agent have to find out the utility for each and every means possible outcome and take the action that maximizes the expected utility. Now, how to calculate the expected utility? Those I will cover later in the subsequent slides. So now some notation of which is related to the decision network. So decision networks are generalized Bayes belief network with chance node, decision node, and utility node. And these decision networks combine Bayesian network with decision theory. In the Bayesian network, there was only chance node and connections, where the chance node represents the attribute and the connection represents the conditional effects. And here in the decision network, two more nodes are there. First one is decision node, second one is utility node. And decision node basically represents the possible decision, and the utility node calculates the utility of the decision, that means the preference. So here you can see that chance node is represented, the shape of the chance node will be elliptical, decision node is rectangular, and utility node is in the diamond shape. Now, to have the decision in the uncertain situation, these values the agent have to count. First one is utility. Utility of a decision is a function of random variable of the decision problem. And expected utility for each decision is calculated as a sum of probabilities of the decision multiplied by the utility value of that decision. That means how to calculate the expected utility? Expected utility is calculated by using the product of the probability and the utility value. By this way, we can calculate the expected utility. Now, maximum expected utility, after calculating the expected utility, we have to consider the maximum expected utility to take the decision. Now, what about value of the information? This is basically the price paid to obtain the piece of information. And the information obtained may or may not be useful in arriving at the correct decision. What about value of perfect information? This is the price paid to obtain a piece of information that helps in making the right decision. So these values the agent have to calculate to have the correct decision under uncertain situation. Now, artificial intelligence agent use decision network to make this decision under uncertainty by using the following steps. These steps are necessary. First, it has to assign conditional probability to each random variable, that means chance node. Then it has to assign the utility to a decision. Then rate the utility of each possible decision. Then compute the expected utility of each possible decision and from their maximum expected utility. And after that, computing value of information and value of perfect information in case of sequential decisions. Now, how to calculate the value of information and value of perfect information? I am not very much comfortable in this field, so that is why I have not included this part in this slide. Now, consider one simple example that how to take decision under an uncertain situation. Consider a simple example of that. Consider a simple decision network for a decision of whether the agent should take an umbrella when it goes out. The agent's utility depends on the weather and whether it takes an umbrella. So suppose this type of scenario is given, and the agent have to decide that when it is going out, whether it should take the umbrella or not. Suppose this is the probability of rain, 0.3, and this is the decision making means node, that is why represented by using the square, rectangle shape. And here this is the utility table. So the utility of the combination of leave and sunny means when weather is sunny, the agent can leave the means umbrella. Utility value is 100%. So this is agent's preference. Now leave when it is raining, this will be obviously 0. When take it is sunny, it is 20 suppose, and take rainy, weather rainy, suppose the utility value is 70. So this is the utility table given with this scenario. Now the agent have to decide that whether it should take the umbrella or not when it is going out. And this is the solution for that. First, we have to identify the domain of each random variable and decision variable. So here one random variable is there, which is weather, and the domain of weather is rain and sunny. And one decision variable was there, which is umbrella, and the domain was take and leave. And this table I have formed from this data only. So here, if the probability of rain is 0.3, then what will be the probability of sun? Because we have assumed that there are only two domains of weather, rain and sunny. So if the probability of rain is 0.3, so the probability of sunny will be obviously 0.7. That means 1 minus 0.3, which is equal to 0.7. Now, when action is take, rain is there, then what is the utility value? Let us see. When action is take, rain is there, then the utility value is 70. So we have to put 70 here. So after that, take and sunny, utility value was 20. That is why 20 written here. Then leave and rain. Leave and rain, utility value was 0. That is why 0 written here. And similarly, leave sunny, utility value was 100. Now from these data, how to calculate expected utility? Now to calculate the expected utility take when the decision is take, which is equal to, as I have told you, that the expected utility is the product of the probability value and the utility value. And after that, we have to take the summation. So here, expected utility take means we have to only consider the probability and utility value which is related to take. So here we have to take the product of the probability and the utility value. So this is becoming 70 multiplied by 0.3 plus 20 multiplied by 0.7, and the value is 35. Similarly, we have to calculate the expected utility of leave, which is equal to 0 multiplied by 0.3. 0 multiplied by 0.3 plus 100 multiplied by 0.7. That is why the value becomes 70. Now maximum expected utility is 70, and the agent have to take decision as per the maximum expected utility. So this 70 we got when we are means considering that the agent can leave the umbrella. So the optimal decision is leave. So by this way the agent can take decision by using the utility function. Now one means little bit, if I am means converting the scenario to a little bit complicated, and I have inserted one more parameter here, or one more random variable here, that is forecast, to make the scenario a little bit complicated. Now see what is happening. Is the decision will remain same or will it change depending on the forecast? So here you can see that forecast is dependent on weather, but forecast is not directly dependent on utility. And other parts will remain same. Probability of rain will remain same. Utility values will remain same. Here we have to include two more table. First one is dedicated to probability of forecast when it is sunny, and second one is probability of forecast when it is rainy, because forecast is dependent on weather. So we have to consider for sunny and rainy. And forecast can be suppose either good or bad. So for forecast good when it is sunny 0.8, bad 0.2. Forecast good when it is rainy 0.1 and bad 0.9. Now how to take the decision in this situation? So first we have to consider the probability of weather. Simple means we are only considering the probability of weather. So here sunny will be 0.7 because it is mentioned that probability of rain is 0.3. So it will be 0.7 for sunny and for rain is 0.3. Now what about the probability that forecast is equal to bad given that weather? Forecast is equal to bad given that weather. So for sunny 0.2, that is why 0.2 here we have to write. And for rainy it is 0.9, that is why 0.9 we have to write. Now we have to join these two probabilities. Joining means we have to take the product of these two. So for sunny it will become 0.14, for rainy it will become 0.27. And this is the probability of weather given that forecast is equal to bad. So this is these are the values, and after that we have to normalize it. So how we are doing the normalization? Consider the value 0.14. So it will become 0.14 divided by 0.14 plus 0.27, which is 0.34. And next one is 0.66. So by this way, we can normalize it. After that, we have to calculate the expected utility value. And expected utility value here, depending on the forecast, as I have told you, that leave when forecast is bad. Expected utility of leave when forecast is bad. This will be equal to probability of weather given that forecast bad multiplied by utility of leave weather. Here forecast, one simple way to remember this is forecast is not dependent on utility. That is why, as you can see from the figure, there is no relation between forecast and utility. Utility, weather and action taken, these three are related, and weather and forecast, these two are related. So we have to take the probability of weather given that forecast is equal to bad, because weather is dependent on bad, and utility value is dependent on action taken and weather. So here we have to put the value only. So probability of weather given that bad, which is equal to multiplied by the utility value, which is equal to 0.34. Let us check. Yes, 0.34 is for sunny. 0.34 multiplied by 100. 100 means leave and sunny. For leave and sunny, we have to consider. So for leave and sunny, it is 100. So overall, it is becoming 0.34 multiplied by 100. Now consider for rainy. Rainy weather forecast bad. Sorry. Rainy forecast bad, which is 0.66. And after that, we have to take into consideration utility value of leave rainy. So utility value of leave rain, which was 0. So that is why multiplied by 0. The value is 34. Similarly, we have to consider utility value, expected utility of take given that bad, which is equal to probability of weather given that bad multiplied by the utility take weather. Here also two domains of weather we have to consider, sunny and rainy. So for sunny, the value was 0.34 as mentioned here. These are same, and just utility value will change. Here we have to take the utility of take sunny. So take sunny was 20. So that is why it is 20 plus 0.66 means this is the probability of rainy when forecast bad multiplied by utility value of take rainy. So utility value of take rain was 70. So that is, and after calculation we are getting the value 53. And from this scenario, you can see that the maximum expected utility is 53. And as the decision will dependent on the maximum expected utility, so here optimal decision will take. So as you can see that after introducing one new parameter, the decision has changed. The previous decision was leave. For the same values, previous decision was leave, and after introducing the forecast into scenario, the decision has changed to take. So while creating the decision network, we have to be very careful that what type of variables we are introducing and what are the values we are giving, so that the agent can take the optimal decision correctly. So in summary, it is not possible to handle the uncertain situation by only using logical reasoning. Here we can use either fuzzy based reasoning or probability based reasoning or hidden Markov model, etc., etc. Today I have discussed about discuss some examples which are related to probabilistic based reasoning, that how to handle the uncertainty by using probability based reasoning. Thank you very much.
Okay, Jasmita.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you say over our presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Participants have any questions? Actually, this Jasmita has discussed about this probability-based decisions. This will be useful for your kind of recommender systems, because if you're having any kind of tabular values or collecting to develop your AI models, then this will be very much useful for you. Okay. So those people who are working with this recommender system or tabular value data, you can make use of this probability based concepts to get an exact result for your model. Okay. Participants, feedback form கொடுத்துட்டீங்களா? கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க. Okay. One question is that, Smita.
Sorry,
Go to
ma'am.
this. There's in chat box they posted some questions.
Okay, ma'am.
You go through them.
Okay.
They are asking regarding some image concept.
How do we apply for image? Any big pixel is necessary to reduce time. What do you mean by big pixel? Super pixel, okay. Super pixel. How do we apply it for image? Okay, for image means what type of application you want to do. First, I have to know that.
Here, our researchers are mostly using with medical images and agriculture images. Yeah, here.
Okay,
MRI.
MRI. Okay, so here how do we apply it for image? Means see here means in MRI brain, MRI is not color image. MRI doesn't contain any color, so color part we can discard. And when we are considering the MRI image, first step is means how to handle the uncertain situation using in MRI. There, I think you have to go with some neural network concepts or deep learning concepts. You have to introduce some deep learning concepts, and first you have to make the means the structure of the deep learning properly, and with any node, or suppose in the first node you can include some probability based reasoning if you want to handle the uncertainty. Means first with only probabilistic based reasoning, I think it is not possible to handle, because MRI brain images are very, very complicated. So here what you can do is, my suggestion will be, first you have to construct the neural network structure or deep learning structure, any structure. Then in a particular layer, one layer you can configure with the probabilistic based reasoning. So it will be the mixture of probabilistic based reasoning and deep learning. There are many type of probabilistic based reasoning are there. Here today I have discussed only few basically. So by that way, I think it will be helpful for you. Neural network as well as probabilistic based reasoning. By only using probabilistic based reasoning, here I give you some simple examples only. So MRI based brain images are not so simple. So that is why one foolproof structure is needed first. And after that, one single layer you can dedicate it to this probabilistic based reasoning. Means there you can include some probability based data, and after that, means sequentially you have to configure it actually. So only by using probability based, it is not possible. Probability you have to include in neural network. There are some neurons you have to configure by using probability. Means what type of changes you need in your pixels. Pixels values are there. So there you can feed the probability based reasoning. Means like how CNN works. I think all of you know how CNN works. It is basically based on the intensity values or pixel values. So likewise, there, suppose in the first layer we are introducing some probability based reasoning, and after that whatever outcome we are getting from the probability based reasoning, then with that data we are doing the next computation. Means we are not feeding the actual pixels, we are taking the probability of that, and after that we are doing the subsequent computation. That is possible.
Okay, Jyoti. Our scholars are working with majorly working with image processing concepts, so that's what they are asking this question. I think whether it may
yes,
be.
ma'am. Question is very good actually. Actually, I am also working in this particular domain. That is why, and I have faced a lot of problem while working with MRI brain, because it is not so easy while working with MRI brain. And tomorrow only I feed the probability based data into one of my neural network structure. That is why I am explaining it, because it is giving some more better result. Means if we are feeding the values directly into the convolutional neural network, whatever data whatever output I am getting, if I am taking the probability of that, then the result is getting better. Not good, but it is getting better. That is why I am suggesting.
Because nowadays everyone are working with CNN only. So this is a new concept. We can try with that, because everyone are trying on it.
Yes. We can try it. No. It is giving a better result, because I means personally I have faced this type of problem. But she is telling that MRI brain is very complicated, because it is very means I am not getting a very good answer, very good outcome when I am doing some experiment with MRI brain. That is why yesterday only I feed some probabilistic based reasoning in my deep learning structure, in my CNN structure. That is why I am telling that she can also do it, because I am getting a good some more good result I am getting. I am not telling that it will solve each and every
But anyway, we will try. We will make it try, because this is a new area, research area.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. So it can.
In future, we will expect this kind of good results from you with this kind of image processing. Okay.
Definitely, ma'am. My
Okay.
field is actually image processing. That is why I am working with MRI brain image
But anyway,
nowadays.
today your session is useful for those who are starting their research with some kind of surveys, now, because this is a multidisciplinary workshop. Okay, maximum the other group of people are using their surveys and they are trying to find out the results from their values.
Yes, ma'am. Because
Surely,
uncertainty is everywhere. That is why I thought to choose this topic. Because
okay.
I don't also know each and everything of uncertainty. So I am
Okay.
also working on this. So
But anyway, these examples are very useful for us. The one more question is that.
can you say, okay, can you say differences between
Can
Bayesian network and what is that?
RSMs. RSM.
Bayesian network and RSM. Can you tell me the full form of RSM?
That is posted it. Response surface methodology.
Response surface methodology. I don't know what is response surface methodology.
Okay. Okay. So they have something, some kind of usage may be there. Even I don't know about that. Okay. Then any other questions? Okay. Okay, well, Dr. Jyoti, thank you for your nice presentation. Actually, this probability-based reasoning is a new concept for us. While we are working, developing our models, we can make use of this. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.